Hi everyone, welcome to another My Life in Objects. So I thought it'd be interesting to do a video games, computer games themed episode, and I've just got some props on camera here, so just to act as aid memoir, so I can just chat a little bit about, because what I'm interested in this video, I suppose, and encouraging comments in the comments section is, what video games do you feel you really sort of played into oblivion? Like just, I wouldn't say they occupied every waking hour, maybe they did, but you became quite obsessed with and played incessantly over either a period of time or kept playing successive iterations of the game. So I've picked a few here. In the title you probably see I'm going to cover, I am going to mention Doom and Warcraft and Starcraft, but I'll probably mention many others as I go along. So the thing I think for me that started it all, this Doom is one of two games actually that I can definitely say, the first two games I purchased for a PC that I owned, or I played a game on a PC I owned. Prior to that, any games I'd played had, I think, either been on, obviously things like arcades, but on computers at school, which is probably just Frogger, and at work, and at that time we're talking about, the mid to late 80s initially, although I didn't get involved with playing Doom until the 90s, but in the late 80s into the 90s, I was trying to think of that dungeon crawler game now. It's got various names. I think it's sometimes called Mines of Moria, or Anger Band or whatever. There's all sorts of various names for it, and I think it started life out on probably like Unix machines, and then generally in the science community it sort of spread around. And I can remember a member of staff coming back from a visit to the States, like a work visit, and they were like a software engineer at the firm I worked at, and they brought back this disc for the I think it was for the decks. I can't remember what model of deck we were using, and I don't know on the deck what operating system it would have been running, whether it was CPM or something else. And it just spread around the labs like wildfire, to the point where we actually had to remove it because it was distracting people so much. So probably in terms of, outside of playing on a computer I owned, that was probably the first game that I played, and I was also aware of everybody getting else obsessed with. But for me it really started off with Doom, and then Doom 2. I don't know if I still have my original Doom discs. I mean, the first time I played Doom was through the shareware version that turned up on, PC cover discs back in the day. That, I mean, I got wind of it, I suppose, initially when a work colleague, and this has been when I was working at Radio Rentals, I suppose, in the accounts office. At that point, just before I went on the helpline, and when I was doing a contract chasing, and he'd said, "Oh, there's a couple of games you should check out if you've got a new PC." One of which was Doom, and the other one was Ultima Underworld. So that weekend, I went out and bought both. On, like I say, they're probably somewhere in a sealed container. My sort of original Doom discs, and also Ultima Underworld. I think Ultima Underworld was the first one that I bought without playing the shareware version. I don't even know if there is a shareware version. But Doom, I'm pretty sure I played the first level on the shareware version, and then went to a store somewhere back when it was quite difficult to buy like computer games. Actually, I think I had to go to a specialist sort of PC store and bought like I said, I think it came on whatever it was, 3.25 inch discs or whatever it is. I always get confused with 5.5 and 3.25. But anyway, I don't think it was on the larger discs. But yeah, here's my CD copy of Doom. Actually, I'm surprised it's still, maintains its integrity. A lot of these just jewel cases like mess up. But I also had this as well. This is great fun. So this is the construction kit. Did come with a book. I don't know what I did with the book. And instructions on how to use it and how to modify WADs. And yes, I did end up at that point. There was an Aliens mod going around, doing the rounds. But I can remember having great fun doing real simple models, and then obviously building my own levels. And what happened was, so I went from originally working in a lab to then, for 11 years, no, 12 years actually, and then going and temping for a while and then ending up as a contract chaser and then on a helpline for point of sale support, which is when my sort of transition, if you like, into doing much more computer-based stuff, whereas before I'd done it as an adjunct, even though I was doing a lot of programming when I worked in the lab. And in fact, there was a period for about 4 to 5 years where basically that's what I was doing all day. But it's only really when I started to take on, jobs where there was, the job title was connected to working with computers and computing support. That happened when I was at Radio Rentals, and I can remember, everybody there getting pretty addicted on all the shareware games that were doing the rounds at the time, like Doom and what was the other one? Lemmings. And at one point, unbeknown to the management, my then boss, the person that was in charge of the helpline, set up like a Doom server, and we were surreptitiously, or whatever the right word is here, clandestine playing of Doom whilst we were answering support calls. And we were able to do that because the machines we were using were running like a trying to remember the old, what are they called now? I'm trying to think of the name of the computer company that used to make green screen dumb terminals. Yeah, it's gone. But we had this software on there because we were running PCs, because we needed to run the point of sale software. But the rest of the accounts office ran client server on these like dumb terminals from way back. It looked like they came from the 70s probably did, 70s or 80s. But we had to run Windows or DOS machines. So we were running these terminal emulators, but it was really easy to switch. So, you'd have the terminal emulator on the screen, and then in the background you'd be running Doom. So if anybody came round, you could like switch easy. But I can remember taking this into work, and people were like designing Doom levels. So that always brings a smile to my face from there. But yeah, I played Doom 2 to death. Played Quake a lot later, not so much. And I'm trying to remember the order in this. I threw in Dungeon Keeper because this is a real good example of where I can remember when I did finally switch jobs and became like a full-time, from there became a full-time programmer for a value-added reselling company. In my lunch breaks, I used to play computer games, But it's funny because my home PC wasn't powerful enough to play certain things, and I really wanted to play Dungeon Keeper. So at the point I bought this copy, the only machine I could play it on was the one in the office. So lunchtime, end of day, I'd actually fire up Dungeon Keeper, and then eventually I bought a laptop that would play. So that's an interesting aside. But yeah, I became a. This is probably one of my favourite games. This and Dungeon Keeper 2. And then at some point I progressed on to StarCraft, and this I really got into. Like a lot of people, you sort of work through it and play from all the different perspectives. And then the one that really sort of overarched everything, I think, was the Warcraft 1, 2 and 3. So I started playing Warcraft 1, I think, was there a shareware version of it? Or anyway, I had access to Warcraft 1, I must have bought it actually, thinking about it. And so I was playing that, and that became popular around the same time that Doom 2 was popular. And again, I think with the first Warcraft, was it Orcs and Humans or whatever it's called? Yeah, the first one, that filtered through onto work machines again. Was that, yeah? Help, we're being attacked. And then I bought the second one, and then the third one came out. I think this one, does this one have the expansion in it as well? I'm not sure. Somewhere, I think, I either might have bought it separately or it came with it. There's that one, the blue disc. So I think I might have the expansion for this. I think. But I always get confused, with the iterations, and I'm assuming after this, it then went over onto World of Warcraft, but I've not really done much online MMO stuff, really, if any. But yeah, played this a lot. Like I said, it's probably the one that I've played the most sort of different iterations of, because I kept going with all three as they came out. With a lot of games with me, it tend to do it retrospectively, so I can remember that was the case with Diablo. I played that way after the fact, and things like, I think, was it the game Painkiller, and a few of the other ones as well like that. So yeah, anyway, there we have it. Thanks once again for watching. If there's any games that totally took over your life, or you became obsessed with over a period of time, then let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.